What's going on, everybody? My name is Chris Kringle. This is Kringle Talks Football, back with a brand new video. Before we go any further, I will not forget this time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Every time I upload a video, you'll be notified. Follow me on Twitter, follow my podcast journey as well. Kringle Talks Football, available on all platforms. This video today, it comes in the middle of the international break, in which I don't really care too much about the international break. I'll be totally honest with you. We played San Marino the other day. We won 5-0. I didn't really watch it. I forgot it was on. It was only when I checked ITV News or whichever news channel it was that night that I watched, I see that England had won 5-0. So that's how much it means to me, if I'm honest. But this video today that I'm doing is as you can see in the title, is like a scouting report, or like players that we've been linked with, who we've been linked with, who we could potentially go for, and what it could be, basically. So that's the rundown for it, basically. Run through the players who I'm gonna look at in the different positions. We're looking at right back, backup left back, central midfielder, and a couple of strikers with a right winger thrown in. So let's do it. So this week, I'll start off this week. There's been reports anyway for a couple of weeks now that Arsenal are interested in signing a right back by the name of Emerson Royal from Real Betis. Now, a little bit of background information with Real Betis. Apparently they're in a bit of financial trouble and they could be looking to sell a few players. So a couple of the players, or three of the players that I'm going to talk about in today's video are Real Betis players. So the first player I'm talking about is Emerson Royal. He is a right back. He is 6'1" or 6'2", I think. I should have written down his age, but I'm not going to lie to you, I actually forgot. But I written it down on my phone only because I've got all the different information on my phone. Obviously the stats and that will be up on the screen when I talk about them. But he's a right back, primarily a right back. He was signed from Atletico Mineiro last season or the season before. A bit of a tricky situation. So both Betis and Barcelona paid £5.1 million to Atletico Mineiro. And the plan is, at the moment, that he would be staying at Betis for 2.5 seasons before joining Barcelona for an extra £2.5 million alongside the share that they paid. So essentially £7.6 million they're going to pay to Betis to sign him. Before we go into the details of who he is, there was an article out by Football España saying that basically the ball's in Barcelona's court. They could easily just bring him back in after 2.5 years and keep him. But I think the emergence of Serginho Dest, the young American right back that they've got, and the emergence of him has kind of put a bit of spanner in the works, and it wouldn't be in Emerson Royal's best interest to go play second fiddle to that, if I'm honest. But he's made 28 appearances this season. He scored 2 goals, 4 assists. He's got a pass success rate of 81.9%. He's had 7 yellow cards, 1 red card. He averages around 2 tackles per game, and his market value, even though he can sign for Barcelona for £7.5 million pretty much, he's got a market value of about £25 million. And he's got an overall rating this season anyway of 7.04. So some of the attributes he has is his abilities to cross deep and from the byline. So he can cross it early on if we need the ball in early, or he can run down the byline and cross it in as well, the overlapping. He's very quick turn of pace, which is something that in recent weeks, in recent years with Hector Bellerin last couple of seasons, he's lacked. And it's not me just bashing Hector Bellerin, but we've noticed a big change in his pace. He's not the quickest anymore, so him getting up and down the byline, up and down the wing, it is not happening anymore for him. So with Emerson, he's very good one-on-one defender as well. He's very skillful. So for a right back, he has it all. He's tall, he's quick, he's strong. He can put the ball into the box, and he's got an eye for goal. And if you've noticed especially in the game against West Ham away from home, and also the game against Burnley, Arteta chose to pick Callum Chambers at right back. That kind of mould player, Callum Chambers at right back, a tall right back who is a bit quicker, probably fits the mould perfectly, more so for Arteta. And that is what Emerson Royal is. Like I said, 6'1", about 6'1". I'm 183, which is 6'2", so he must be about 6'1". And so I think the possibility of us signing him this summer is quite high, because like I said, the ball does lie with Barcelona, but if they've got Serginho Dest at right back already, they haven't got an incentive to want to keep Emerson Royal. There might be a bit of a bargaining token here between the two clubs, who knows. But in recent years, we've had success with negotiating with Barcelona, so it's a possibility. The other right back, which I've spoken about in a previous video, was Tariq Lamptey from Brighton. Now, he is a lot different to Emerson Royal. He stands at 164 centimeters, which is around 5'6", I'm going to say, which is very short. I mean, he's shorter than Bellerin. So, but the only good thing about him at the moment, he's very able for the Premier League. He's very adaptable as well. He's made 30 appearances, 3 goals, 4 assists before he got injured. 83.3% pass success rate this season. 4 yellow cards, 1 red card. He averages, which is quite... The stat that they brought up, which is averages 1.7 dribbles per game, is quite noticeable. The fact that you've got a right back or a left back, whoever it is, making excessive dribbles up and down the pitch quite often. They've got a market value of about 8 million. I can't see him being English as well, going for anything less than about 30 million, which is a lot for a right back, especially one who the contrast in which you've been playing players seems like a lot of money. And he's got a rating of about 6.85. So even though he makes sense in every sense of the word, it would leave us very short. Because Kieran Tierney's not the tallest, even though he's got a very good jump. He's not the tallest either. So, look, Tariq Lamptey is very quick. He's great with the ball at his feet, good tackle, and he doesn't really switch off. His spatial awareness, his overall awareness, and his discipline is fantastic. And you know, like I said, it does seem a little bit counterintuitive, counterproductive, considering if we're linked with Emerson Royal, who's up here, and then we're linked with Tariq Lamptey, who's down here. There's a bit of a difference in terms of what kind of player you're actually looking for in terms of height. So that's one to watch. The right back one, I think, is going to be a priority for Arteta this summer. I know a lot of people are not that keen on a priority right back in the summer, but I genuinely think to get the best out of a player like Nicola Pepe and even Bukayo Saka in terms of the options that it offers you, I think it's a very, very key priority position what we're going to look at. So moving on to the left back situation, we need a backup left back. We haven't got one. You know, we played Cedric out on the left. Obviously, Ainsley Maitland-Niles is still on loan at West Brom, and he's got the opportunity to play there. I think Kolasinac is still on loan at he's still on loan at Schalke, and it's only a loan deal. So, do we really want to have him as our backup left back to give Kieran Tierney games? Probably not. We've seen what Kolasinac can do, and it's not a lot. And there's a couple of shouts. There was one shout this week it's been muted for a few weeks now. Is a player by the name of Josh Doig from Hibernian. He's a left back. He's a 19-year-old left back. The funny thing is, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't know anything about this player, only of the stats that are up on the screen. I don't even know what height he is, but I know that Arsenal have been looking into him, and he's Scottish, so Kieran Tierney might know a bit about him, might have a bit of an insight into what he can bring and potential. But he's made 26 appearances this season, 1 goal, 3 assists. He has a very low pass success rate at 62%, even in the Scottish League. 2 yellow cards, no red cards. Recoveries, he makes 5.4 recoveries per 90 though, by the way, so that is a lot of recoveries. Whether or not that's just because Hibernians sit back and defend the whole game and he's having to run back like a headless chicken and try and get the ball in, who knows. He also makes 5.4 duels, so every time he comes up against them, he averages 5.4 duel wins a game. Again, how that would fare in the Premier League, who knows. It's one to keep an eye on, certainly. Left back again, a backup left back anyway, he's got to be another priority on our target list, without a shadow of a doubt. So then we move into another player that we've been linked with. He is a left winger, left midfielder, or a striker in some. His name is Mislav Orsic. He plays for Dynamo Zagreb, and this is a bit of a strange one. This one has kind of come out of nowhere. It's only been literally last couple of days where maybe the fact that he put in a really good performance against Tottenham has boosted him up or something. I don't know, but this has literally come out of nowhere. If you look at his credentials, he's played nowhere outside of Europe other than in China. He's only played in China and in Croatia. So There's no testing. There's no, oh, he's had a short stint in the Bundesliga or in Serie A or in Ligue 1. None of that. He's literally been in China and in Croatia. He's 27 years old, coming up to 28. He's made 35 appearances this season, 19 goals, including that hat-trick against Spurs. 8 assists, 78.7 pass completion rate. He doesn't get any yellow cards, doesn't get any red cards by the looks of it. He averages about 2.2 shots per game, with an overall rating of 7.1 and a market value, according to this, of about 7.5 million. Now again, potentially that could be true. He could be 7.5 million, but you'd think if Zagreb goes far in the Europa League and he contributes heavily, that will go further and further higher up. From what I saw him against Tottenham in the game that I saw against him, and what I've seen in the short little YouTube clips that we will look at, he looks very hard-working left winger. Fast, and obviously he's got a good eye for goal. He scored 19 in 35 this season off the left. And look, he scored two of his goals against Tottenham were long shots, and one was inside the box. One was inside the box. He arrived into the box in the last second. So he's got an eye for goal. He's got an eye for the long shot. His work rate and agility also key deciding factors. And he's got, in overall, 78 overall games for Dinamo Zagreb. Sorry, I was saying hi to someone. In 33 overall games for Zagreb, he's got 33 goals, in 78 games for Zagreb, which is not bad in the slightest. Including 19 this season. It seems like this season is the season where he's really coming into his own and flourishing in the position where he's coming into. So he's one to definitely keep an eye on. Whether or not that happens, and whether or not we're actually looking for a left winger or a right winger, who knows? We're very stacked in that position at the moment. With the likes of Martinelli, with Pepe, with Emil Smith-Rowe, with Saka, with Willian, and with even Aubameyang coming in off that left-hand side. We're very stacked in the side, in the channels. Reece Nelson is still there. He's not playing much at the moment. So it's going to be interesting what we do in terms of the attacking sense in the summer. And then we move on to the next one, who I mentioned earlier about Real Betis looking like they might be trying to sell a few players. This one again has come out of the blue, but is a player by the name of Guido Rodriguez. He's an Argentinian midfielder. He's about 25, 26. He's played 28 games this season. He scored just 2 goals and 0 assists. So he's not the most productive. 84.2% pass completion rate, 8 yellow cards, 0 red cards. He averages around 2.5 tackles per game, market value of around 18 million. And he's got a rating of 6.82. What it seems, he's similar to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Ibrahim Sangare, who we've been linked with in the past as well. What it seems to me is that he lacks discipline in his game. He makes a lot of fouls. He aimlessly makes a lot of fouls, but he can be astute in his tackling, and his natural fitness is on point. He doesn't miss hardly any games. When I say he's astute in his tackling, I also said that he lacks a lot of discipline. What I mean by that is, when he puts his mind to it and his tackling properly, he's going to win his tackles all day long. When he starts wandering around like a headless chicken is when he starts to make the silly fouls. He's one to keep an eye on, but I don't know if he's the kind of player we want alongside Thomas Partey, if I'm honest. Because for me, what I've just described there in terms of astute tackling and his work rate, etc., is what I'm describing when I'm talking about Thomas Partey. And we've seen it with Granit Xhaka this season, that he's a very competent midfielder alongside him, but he's not somebody who can allow Partey to do what he needs to do, because you've always got that potential where Xhaka could have one of his games. Now, ideally, what I'd like to see from Partey is he's the man who sits, who can play the ball from deep and run with it if he needs to, but he's also got a ball-carrying midfielder alongside him. Now, obviously, there's question marks about Bissouma from Brighton, and, like I said, Ibrahim Sangare. Different players who... Look, for me, back in the day, if we had Cesc in where we had him, and then we put Thomas Partey alongside it, that would have been the perfect remedy. That would have been the perfect recipe for a great midfield. Because you've got someone who's tough tackling, who's got great eye for the pass, but who's also disciplined enough to stay in his position, alongside someone who's similar, very disciplined player, but he can be the most creative player you need from deep. We need someone with the agility of Fabregas, is what I'm looking for in the midfielder. That's basically what we're looking for. So he's one to keep an eye out on. I just don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if it will happen and whether or not Betis are that desperate for money. So it moves into the next player anyway, Nabil Fekir. This one came literally out of nowhere again. It's like Arsenal being linked with one player from Betis, and the media have just gone, you know what? Listen, we've got a load of other players that you could take from them, so we're just going to start linking you with them. Quotes in the paper today, 50 million euros for Nabil Fekir. I mean, 27 years old. I just don't think so. You know, 31 appearances this season, 3 goals, 6 assists, 87% pass completion rate, 4 yellow cards, 0 reds. He averages 3.2 dribbles per 90 and 3.2 shots per 90. Market value of around 20 to 25 million pounds, and he's got a rating of 6.9. Now, we all know that he has an injury record. He's had a long injury record. He failed his Liverpool medical. The reason why that deal didn't go through was because of his injury record. So there's always a question mark on his injuries. But technical ability, unquestionable. There's no questions from his time at Lyon and also at Betis. Very good vision, very agile as well on the ball. It's just whether or not he's the kind of player we're looking for. If we sign Martin Odegaard on a permanent transfer, then the like of Nabil Fekir even nearly coming to the club should be out of the question already. That's what I'm thinking. Like I said, 50 million euros is what they're after, but his market value is between 20-25. Who knows? He's one to keep an eye on as well, because, you know, the Arsenal love to spring a surprise, a random player. And so we're going to move into the centre forwards. I've got 2 on the list. One we've been linked with in the past, and one who Clive from the Arsenal Vision post-match podcast referenced as a potential one to keep an eye on, and I actually think it's the perfect option. But the first one to keep an eye out on is Alexander Isak. He's a Swedish centre forward. He's 21 years old, 190 centimetres. He's about 6'5", 6'6". It must be about 6'5", 6'6". 39 appearances this season, 12 goals, 2 assists, pass completion rate of 75%, 3 yellow cards, no red cards. His shots per 90, 3.1, and he averages just over 1 on target. He's got a market value of around 20 million. He's rated 6.4. The thing with him, he's very tall, so he gives you the option in the air. And he's also very quick. So he gives you the option of the player in behind. You know, stretch the defence at all costs. He's got an eye for goal. Listen, this season, not that decisive, but he's still young. Plays in a main role for a 5th side in La Liga, hoping to push for the Champions League spots. He's averaging 3 shots a game, like I said. He scored 10 in 24 in his first club, AIK. And when he was on loan at Willem 2, he scored 13 in 16. So he's definitely got an eye for goal. And at 21 years old, that can only be improved on. That can always be improved on. And his next club will probably be his most vital one, because I don't think he'll be at Sociedad for too long. No offence to Sociedad. They were in the Europa League recently against Man United. And he will look to move to a bigger club eventually, I think. Whether or not we are the club that he moves to, who knows? Would I like to see him at Arsenal? Potentially. But the player I would like to see at Arsenal is Lukayovic. He's at Eintracht Frankfurt at the moment, on loan from Real Madrid. This season he's 23 years old, he's 6'1". He plays a centre-forward striker. He's played 20 games this season for Frankfurt. 5 goals, 3 assists. He's got a pass completion rate of 82%. 1 yellow card, 0 red cards. He averages just under 3 shots a game, just over 1 shot on target. Valued at around £25 million. He's 6.6 rating. When he was at Benfica on loan at Frankfurt initially for those 2 seasons, he was one of the most sought-after strikers in the world. Now, I'm talking about sought after in the terms of the way Haaland is right now, but not on the same grand scale in the performance-wise. He ended up going to Real Madrid as a backup, eventual takeover striker from Karim Benzema. And since he joined, Benzema stepped up his game tenfold and went, listen, this guy's not taking over me just yet. I'm still young. I'm still able to play football. Not happening just yet. But he is a very good footballer. He's a very strong, and he's also quite quick. And for me personally, he's definitely worth taking the punt on. In his previous stint at Frankfurt, he scored 25 goals in 54 league games. So you can do your own percentages there. That's just over 1 in 2, basically. He has 5 goals in 12 for Serbia since making his Serbian debut. So for me, he's the striker that I'd look to go for. Somebody made a comment, would I take Lukaku in the summer? Without a doubt, 100%. If it's possible, forget the other two players I just mentioned. I just wasted 15 minutes just talking about two players I wouldn't even want to talk about if Lukaku's available. But I don't think we'd be able to get him. He's the kind of player I'm not too sure we'll be able to sign. If we can, brilliant, let's do it. Scrap Isak and scrap Jovic, go for Lukaku. I don't think he's the kind of player we need, or we can afford, sorry. Out of the players I've spoken about today in the video, Emerson Royal, for me, looks a shoe-in, the player we need at right back. Tall, fast, skillful, one-on-one defender, good crossing ability as well. For the likes of Jovic or Isak up front, it'd be a dream. So he's one, definitely. Left back, listen, I'm not going to lie to you, I was a bit poor in my research into the left back. I came across Josh Doig today and saw the articles linking us with him. Listen, we've got a young player in Joel Lopez who can also fill in at left back next season, potentially get promoted to the under-23s, possibly move to the first team squad, who knows. Guido Rodriguez, I don't know. He's one to definitely keep an eye on, see how he improves the rest of the season. He's definitely one I'm going to keep an eye on, and I can speak more about him later on. Yves Bissouma, probably for me, is probably still the one I would go with, because as well as he can be defensively for us, he's definitely someone who can run with the ball and move forward. In the striking option, like I said, in the wingers, I'm not too sure we're looking at those are the players we need. Because if we sign someone like Odegaard in on a permanent transfer in the summer, then the question marks of an attacking forward, like in the wide areas and up front, in the middle, sorry, behind the striker, is not somewhere we need to look at. And then the striker we'd go for, listen, if Lukaku's available, we go for him. If he's not, Lukayovic is the man I would go for, 100%. So hopefully that's giving you a little bit of insight into what I think we can do and who the potential is we need to look at and keep an eye on. Like I said, I'll keep an eye on further most of the players that I've just mentioned, and if my mind changes, then wicked, then we've got other options to go for. But like I said at the start of the video, guys, listen, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Every time I upload a video, you'll be notified. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on my podcast journey, Kringle Talks Football, available on all platforms. I will hopefully be back for another video at some point in the next week. If not, I will see you before the Liverpool game, which happens next week Sunday, I think it is, or the week after. And until next time, guys, I hope you're well, stay safe, and enjoy this interlude.